Well, welcome back to December, Linda, where we're talking about the stress of the holidays and how to avoid that.
Definitely. All the stress that's coming, people coming over, you think you have to get everything done, and you have to be prepared and, oh, really?
I know. Every year I say, I'm not going to stress out. I'm going to take it easy on myself and just enjoy it. And then I work myself up again. And so I'm trying a little bit harder to not put those invisible demands on myself that no one else puts on me.
Right. Uh-huh. Definitely.
So what we thought is that we would come to everybody and give you just, a few tips on ways that we do try and relieve stress. There's a lot of chaos that happens during the holiday season, month of December. I guess really it starts right before Thanksgiving. But there's so much that we want to get done. And we have this great big list of things that we figure we'll get done at some point between now and Christmas. And just some of the things I thought maybe you and I could talk back and forth on were things like just kind of welcoming the season. It's coming. Let's just enjoy it. How do we just kind of enjoy it and not put all the stress on us, but also being a little more flexible with ourselves, learning to not throw out everything that we've worked on in the last 11 months to be healthier, which happens a lot during this time of year. And then thinking about unplugging maybe a little bit more and how it's okay to do that. Shopping less, maybe that might be something we want to talk about. And then I think this is kind of the big one, is creating reasonable expectations.
That is exactly where I was thinking. We have to just define our expectations.
Right.
Really. And maybe we need to lower our expectations.
I think so.
I was, no Martha Stewart food, okay? That takes, oh my goodness, it's beautiful, but so that is a part of it. Even thinking expectations that sometimes it's okay to outsource some things, rather than do it all myself. It's like, I love having, a green salad, but whenever I make the green salad, the grandboys never eat it, but there is a green salad from Costco that they really, really like, and they really, I don't know, they served it at a graduation thing the boys went to, and they eat it. And so it's like, hey, outsource it if they'll eat the green.
Yeah.
It saves you a lot of time. So I think sometimes just your expectations, it's a big, you can outsource it. And the other thing for me is I have to allow for imperfection. Like, I've been making some things lately. I should have brought them over there. They're sitting behind me, but they're soup cozy bowls, because I thought, oh, this is a great gift to, I don't know if you've seen them, but whenever you have the microwave and it's hot, and you have a bowl in there and it's like, oh, you can't touch it without mitts. But if it's like a soup bowl or a bowl, these, it sits in it, and they're like a hot pad bowl that so I made some, but there was one, it was like, oh, I was like, it's okay. It's really okay. Just because a corner isn't quite, pointed as I would like, it's all right.
Right.
Allow for those expectations.
Exactly. I'm going to give you a confession. So I think it was last year, I got the idea that when I wrapped all of their presents, I used to do like, let's do 3 different wrapping papers. So all 3 kids would have their own paper, right? Well, then I got away from that, and the kids started saying things like, well, how come Santa Claus is wrapping in the same paper that you're wrapping in, you know?
Yeah.
Well, then I decided that I would buy that really pretty brown craft paper, and I would hand draw on every package a unique, Christmas scene or like snowflakes and their name really beautiful on there. Nobody cared. Nobody noticed. It wasn't like, oh, Mom, you did such a good job. There was nothing at all. So I scratched that off of my list. That's not happening this year. So I decided to bargain shop my wrapping paper, and I went to Big Lots. They had beautiful wrapping paper. I bought that. I bought some of their great big bows, and I'm not even wrapping bows. I'm just tying knots with long bow hanging from it. It looks just as pretty as the handmade.
It does. It does.
So yeah, so that's one of my just, you don't have to be perfect.
Yep.
Just kind of, do good enough, and they are going to be happy.
It's not. Yeah. So almost it's unreasonable expectations we place on ourselves.
Yes.
And I don't think it's just because of things we see on Facebook or things, I don't know where it came from, but through the years, we just want things to be so nice, and
Yeah.
it's unreasonable, and it doesn't just wrap up our life in a neat bow. So
I know. I have another thought too, and when I think about being perfect, but now trying to be a little bit more flexible. When we have a family get together on Christmas Eve, which we've done since we've gotten married. We do this with family every Christmas Eve. We get together and we have dinner and we exchange a small amount of gifts, but it's just a tradition and the kids are used to that, and that's what we do. Well, over the years, family has simplified the foods that we have at that meal. And I think every year, like, this is not a Christmas meal. How in the world is tacos Christmas meal? You really want me to bring tacos? So I'm trying to retrain my brain and say it's not about what food we have. It's just about the time being with family and having fun with them and creating the memories, not so much the meal that we eat that night. So I'm trying to be more flexible.
and I think that's what it comes to. As I was listening to a blog this week, we have to define what matters most.
Yes.
And we have to decide that maybe ahead of time, so that we're putting things on the calendar or not putting things on the calendar, and cooking less, spending less, and because often we get involved in things that really have nothing to do with Christmas. And we've been doing this 12 days of Christmas cheer,
Mm-hmm.
and there are maybe 140 people that have participated, and I have just been amazed at the excitement that people have in just giving away themselves, and it's like, whoa.
Yes.
And so I think some of that is because we have kept it simple,
Mm-hmm.
and we have kept it giving. And so I think, we have to think, what is it that matters most to us?
Exactly. And I think if we have, still have little kids at home, it's more about the memory of Christmas. If we remember back to when we were children, we don't remember what we ate, I don't believe. I mean, I remember mashed potatoes on Christmas Day and maybe some ham, but I don't remember any other details than that. I think we might have had cinnamon rolls, which we still do for breakfast here, but I don't remember many of the gifts. A few stick out here and there, but I just remember all the family coming and eating together and just family coming in and spending the night at our house. So they would be there the next morning. So I think I just remember the time more than I remember the things.
Well, I know with grand boys, and a few years ago, I decided, okay, because it's like, okay, well, what did they want? And it's like, and you want to get them more than gift cards, but there was a little jingle, something you want, something you need, something to wear, something to read. So I don't know if you've heard that.
No.
But something you want, something you need, and something to wear, and something to read. Well, first of all, I tried to get one of each of those, but even that became overwhelming.
Oh.
But it was a way that I would, they would give me lists. And even this year, Zechariah said, "Mama, are you doing that?" He had quite a list. I said, well, sort of. I usually try to get them something to read, because being a literacy reading teacher all my life, everybody needs to read, but the best thing is just working to provide and plan for memories.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best thing. And instead of being a consumer and, it's just working to provide and plan for memories.
Yes, exactly. Well, another thing I want to make sure everybody knows it's okay to do is to really unplug. Maybe take some time and watch a couple Hallmark movies, or if you have grandkids over, or little kids, just take time to sit and watch a couple movies with them. Just spend that downtime with them too, so they, I think, feel that it's also okay to slow down. Because if we're always running, they see that and they just assume that that's what life should be when they get older. They'll carry on the same traditions that we had.
Right.
So, yeah, and I feel like most of the year we go so busy, and we don't take as much time to unplug. And I think there's a lot of, I don't know what the right word is, but just such a push in society to, you should always be learning, and you should always be trying to improve yourself. And how much time are you wasting sitting watching TV? I mean, how many times have you heard that in personal development? Well, isn't it okay sometimes to just unplug and just, chill with your family? So I think we kind of make it look like and feel like that's a bad thing. So I'm not saying doing it every single night, but just take a few nights maybe and do that. I think that's a good thing to do as well.
A very good thing.
And maybe it's not watching a movie. Maybe it's sitting around the table playing cards or something like that with your, family.
I've seen families that's their annual cookie day. They make cookies together and make all, I remember the Clay family that had the Clay's Cafe out, I don't know.
In Hebron. Yeah.
Their family would always come to the cafe on a Sunday afternoon at time, and each family made a different kind of cookies, and you had the cafe there with all those ovens, and so there were lots and lots of kind of cookies.
Oh wow, that's neat.
I think that's a lot of it is building maybe just some traditions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the traditions that I started with the boys is that I give them a Christmas ornament every year, but that Christmas ornament has something to do with the manger scene.
Oh,
so it's just it's just fun. So every one of the grandkids, so how many do I have? 5, 3, 9, and so every one of them had around Thanksgiving, I give it to them so that they actually have that to put on the tree. But so when they leave home, they will have 18 to 20 ornaments to take with them.
Yeah. That's a nice one. It's a nice tradition. I started a tradition when my oldest was born, and I guess I've kind of slacked on it in the last couple of years. But I started a book. It's a really pretty little book, and it's covered in black velvet, and it's embellished with some gold beads, and the papers are gold tipped. And every year, Santa Claus would leave a note to each child. This year, it'd say something like, "You were so sweet to your parents, you were good to your siblings, you need to work a little harder on maybe this at school, and maybe try this year," but so it was kind of like a little bit of what you were naughty in, a little bit of what you were nice in, but it was just kind of like a little recap of who they were that year. And I did that for my kids and my nieces as well. So we've got this book that's at least 18 years of stories and things from Santa. So that was a tradition that I forced on everybody. I'm like, take the Santa book, write about your kid in it.
But that's the best, because I know that when I was babysitting the boys after I retired, I actually would keep a list of stories, and Tasha had kept a list of stories, and they love it when we sit around the table, pull out those books and their stories.
Yeah.
And it's the best. There's an educator that I always loved, and his name is Ralph Fletcher. And he tells the story of one year at Christmas break. He had come home from college, and he had worked late and to earn money to buy presents for his whole family. And then he went by, might have been the Salvation Army, somewhere and he gave all of his money to that. And so he went home and he thought, I don't have any money now to buy presents. But he wrote poems for each family. And I thought, well, all of us, we don't think we're a poet, but I saw something the other day where it said, you could make them a card like this: "I looked for an amazing gift because I wanted to celebrate the wonder of you." And, there were things like, "You make the world better by," and "Even when it's hard, I see your courage when." And I thought, sometimes a gift like that is one we cherish because somebody took time to affirm us.
Right.
And to reach our heart, so to speak. And so think of what amazing gifts.
Yes. I think if we do a little bit, maybe less of the shopping and more of those sort of gifts, and just be a little more financially responsible at Christmas, and don't, put all your purchases on credit cards. And then when January comes, the stress that was here in December has just quadrupled now that you have to pay off this debt. But if January comes and you were able to, afford, and you had a budget for all those Christmas gifts, then that, if there's nothing there, you're starting with a clean slate come January. And I think that's a really good goal as well for this season. Well, I think that one of the things that I wanted to kind of push out there, kind of a challenge to everybody, because we've got about 13 days left until Christmas, right? And we probably have some parties to attend, some travel that we might be doing. Might still have decorations to put up, gifts to purchase, planning your meals, and maybe even cleaning your house before guests come. So my challenge to kind of relieve your stress was to write it all down, what you have to do, to kind of figure out what your number one thing is on there. Like, this is my biggest concern. I want to make sure that I get this one right. I would say do that one first, because it's probably maybe your hardest one, the one that you don't leave off. So kind of like that book where you know, eat the frog first, do the hard thing first, get your big thing done, and then go through your list and make sure you can do it all. And if not, mark off the things that aren't as important. And that should hopefully help you reduce your stress, and maybe break it down and say, okay, I have 13 days. You know, what things should I do each day so that you can be a little less stressed.
Yep. It's okay to allow some things to go unfinished.
Exactly. So if you were thinking, I still need to get outside and string those lights, just let it go. You got next year to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Linda, is there anything left on your list? Any big things that you have to get done?
Well, we're going to Iowa to get my mom next week. So that takes a whole week out for me.
Yeah.
So, but no, I have really pretty well purchased what I'm going to purchase, unless I find something little to put in a stocking.
Yeah.
And the gifts are wrapped. And I love the tree. I love the tree behind you. And I just love I love sometimes to just go in the evening and sit in the living room with all the lights on it. I mean, not the lamp lights, but the Christmas lights on, and just to sit and soak up the time of the season.
And when you do that, what do you have diffusing?
Well, around this time, I go between Christmas. I go between holiday peace and holiday joy. I go back and forth each day with a different. And then sometimes I like Northern Escape, just because of the pine smell.
Right.
That and you can add a little vanilla to it, and you have a wonderful. So those are the scents that we're enjoying.
Good. Yes, I do a lot of the holiday joy right now, and maybe a little bit of frankincense too. If you have a little bit of downtime, frankincense is a good one to be able to just kind of sit and enjoy and take it all in. So don't forget that part of your season too. Include your essential oils to help with your stress and to keep your house smelling like Christmas as well.
And probably the other thing, not only diffusing, but keep up with your consistent use of your daily routine, routine of your vitamins, LLV, and those types of things. It's really important. Don't forget them. Just keep that consistency going.
Yes, I agree. All right. Well, we wish you all a Merry Christmas, and I hope everything comes together nice and smoothly and everything is tied up with a pretty bow. All right. Well, Linda, have fun traveling to get your mom, and we'll be back in the new year to share more about essential oils and touch base with everybody. So until then,
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.